What's up, Allites? Welcome to another how-to video. This one is how I made Holy Nightmare. Here it is. Okay. This one's gonna take a little bit longer than the other ones. So it's not as lengthy as some of my tracks, but it's pretty massive overall. I use a handful of plugins, and I use filtering for the organ, and the clockwork. So before we actually start, let's get down to the basic information. For one, I'm using a beat per measurement of 170.70. For those of you who don't know what beat per measurement is, it's how fast the track plays out. This is very important when it comes to the percussion of the drums, because that's half the track. I mean, half of any track is the timing of the track, and it's the rule of thumb. It's the golden rule of music theory. And you know, that could mean a big difference between a dubstep track or drums and bass, whatever. Or in this case, it's not completely EDM track. It's video game music for the most part. Anyway, first we got the organ, then we have morphine, the koto, Hamlet soft sub, the French horn, of course. I got like 7 different drum kits. One's an 808, which is here. Then one is 909, which, as you guys may know, it's EDM drum kit. And the basic, Fruit Loops basic, which it's more customizable than the other two. I mentioned this before in my first how to video, I believe. The break kit, which adds special sounds like air drums, or water drums rather. These two drums were the compromise for the fact that this track for some reason has an issue with the volume. I think the software was malfunctioning during the filing process. Before I converted it to an MP3 file, the original WAV file, I believe, got corrupted. And this software just seems to like mess up quite often. It's, you know, it's a handheld software. It does your audio workstation. At its performance, it's expected to mess up. You know, have quite a few bugs. It's not as sturdy as FL12, but it's still Fruit Loops. So, anyway, electric guitar, clockwork, another French horn because one is not enough. Choir SFX, which makes quite a few different sound effects, and a grand piano. This is actually used for the drop and post drop. Of course, with one of my tracks be about a grand piano. Okay, now let's start. I can't stress enough how much this track glitches a lot. It's gonna start freezing towards the drop. The build up, it's not as bad, but again, look how much is going on in this track. You know, Fruit Loops Mobile, it was not made for these many plugins to do one at once. Fruit Loops was actually originally made for rap beats and trap beats, and as we all know, rap beats and trap beats don't have nearly as much going on in the background as video game music. I mean, it just doesn't. But this software does hold on pretty well. Does a pretty good job. It's gonna start freezing now. Yep. Of course, it doesn't do that in the final production. I mean, but there's a difference between it being in a WAV file and an MP3 file. You know, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. There's a wide variety of chord progression rather. This is definitely one of my favorite tracks to date. But like I said, there was a lot of inconvenience during the production process of this track, but at the same time I'm glad that happened, because it allowed me to be more open-minded about the amount of creativity that could go into this track. And it allowed me to take a step back, you know, just keep adding. Originally this track wasn't going to have nearly as much detail as it has now, but because I did have a lot of technical issues making it, it allowed me to actually sit back and just be like, well, what the fuck now, you know? And in that process of being like, what the fuck now, a lot of things were added that made the track a lot better. Like this ending, for example. I like this ending. And this is done by having an automatic setting for the leveling for the volume and the filtering. As I showed you in the beginning, I use a filter for the organ. My bad, got a brain fart. And I use a filter for the drums at the end, along with the clockwork. I'm going to show you how that's done right now. So in the beginning, as you can hear, the organ in the background starts creeping up. You know, that's done with this filter right here. Right now it's at 19,000 hertz. Now 20,000 hertz. That's pretty much the peak. That's pretty much it without the low pass filter or a band pass filter or high pass filter. And it starts off at 8400 or 700 rather. Starts off at 700 and it goes to 20,000 as time progresses. It's a set at an automatic standing. So you see how it goes up. See, without that, it would sound like this. See, no filtering. You hear the organ straight from the get. Of course, technology nowadays allows music to have the capability to sound great or better. This is Fruit Loops Mobile. People have asked me a few times, like, why does the layout look so much different than Fruit Loops 12? This is the Fruit Loops for the mobile phone. I do make all my music on my phone. Well, most of my music on my phone. I have messed with Fruit Loops Studio 12. I've made videos of that in the past, especially in my other page, Dim Light Chronicles. Most of my music I made with Fruit Loops Studio 12. That's how I make tracks like Alexandra, Crazy But We Just Make Sense. A lot of my studio tracks are made in that. It's a lot better. It's a lot better of a digital audio workstation. Quality of sound is much realistic. It's more professional sounding. This software does have less potential than Fruit Loops 12, but mistaken not. And I can't argue with anybody enough. This is an incredible piece of software. You can do stuff like this on Fruit Loops Mobile. I don't care what anybody says. It is a great software. And I've been using this for about like 8 years. I love it. I prefer using this over Fruit Loops 12. I choose comfortability and familiarity over quality any day. I would choose to use this over Fruit Loops Studio 12 any day. And I know that could interfere a lot with my success as a producer. But again, I'm doing this because I love doing it, not to be a successful producer. So this can be used. I do recommend that you use Fruit Loops 12. If you're a serious producer and you want your music to be used professionally in tracks, definitely use Fruit Loops 12. For those of you who want to use Fruit Loops Mobile, I hope this helps. For those of you who are just fascinated to know how stuff works, I hope this video was fascinating to you. Thank you guys for watching. Take care and have a good night.